Hi everybody, Andrew here from caterwine.com, your favourite place to buy wine online, of course. We're trying Chateau Argenteyre, if that's how you pronounce it, 2015, Medoc, Cru Bourgeois. 2015, very, very good year out of Bordeaux. Right up there with, they seem to get really good years every 5, so 2000 was great, 2005 was great, 2010 was great, 2015 has been a great vintage, so it's 3.5 years old, I suppose, or no, sorry, 2.5 years old at this point, so it's still pretty young in its lifetime, so you'll have a lot more. These are the sorts of wines you could probably buy and keep for 10, 15 years quite easily, and you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it. So Chateau Argenteyre from the Medoc, which is the northernmost part of the left bank of Bordeaux, of the sort of the Medoc. The actual Medoc appellation is that northern section, and you go south and you have the sort of your Saint-Estèphe and Pauillacs and Saint-Julians and so on, and your home Medoc would be a little bit more inland. So interestingly about this property, they have the typical Bordeaux blends and Bordeaux grape varieties, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, but they have a high amount of Petit Verdot, which they're putting a lot of emphasis on, and it has quite a lot of the blend on this particular wine. It adds up to usually about 15%. Cabernet Sauvignon maybe being around about 55-60, and then the remainder made up with Merlot. Not sure if there's much Cabernet Franc, I don't think so, but typically those three grape varieties, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot and Petit Verdot, which is slightly unusual. It's a grape variety that's kind of making its comeback, but it's not a grape variety that you would tend to want to use on its own because it's all fruit and structure and not much else. And it adds a bit more sort of fleshiness, it adds a bit more fruit to it, where sort of like your plum, your Merlot would add the fleshiness, and your Cabernet would add a lot more structure and that to the wine. So it's using the sort of salt and pepper elements, I suppose, for the winemakers around Bordeaux, and it sort of helps offset good years, bad years, depending on the blend and how much of each grape variety they want to put in. The wine will be traditionally fermented, and it will have about 85% oak, with about 35% of that being new. So it's quite a high proportion of new oak. This sells for around about 17, 18 quid a bottle, something like that. So about there where you'd expect it to be for a decent Cru Bourgeois, I suppose, these days. So colour-wise, when it's poured out, it's fairly deep, but it's not really opaque either. I did try 2014 in this particular wine very recently, and I was massively impressed by it. I thought it was fantastic. Really drinkable, very forward, enjoyable bottle of wine. So we'll see how the 15 looks by comparison. So immediately thinking back to 2014, having had it relatively recently, it doesn't seem just to be as intensely coloured, is it? Nice fruit nose. You get that nice sort of black currant, plummy sort of note coming through. Bit of new leather. A little bit of spiciness in there. Nice levels of complexity on the nose straight away. A bit of creaminess coming through, compote sort of flavours. Almost slightly tobacco-y notes. Quite pleasant. Medium weight palate, again sort of follows on with the colour, the depth of it. You get quite grainy tannins. It's still, you can tell it's still pretty young. You get all that rich black fruit coming through. Creamy spiciness on the finish. Bit of alcohol, 13%, not over the top. The wine at the minute, probably in its lifetime, is still too young. It's drinking well enough that it'll stand up with food, with your sort of meat dishes and things like that there, but it'll reward keeping maybe an extra year or two down the line. Because it's such a good year, they'll last that bit longer. I think the 2014 was from not just as good a vintage, and was made for more early drinking, and you know, having had it recently, it was a year further on in its development and showed probably better than what the 2015 is right now. Now I say you could buy this and drink this and really enjoy it right now with some food like red meats and things like that, cheeses, But to see this at its best, I think it needs another year, 2 years down the line, and then it'll start to develop and open up and meld together. Still a very nice bottle of wine, don't get me wrong, but it's still probably just a little bit young for it. But there you go, Chateau Argenteyre 2015 Medoc. If you want one that's sort of affordable to keep, it's well worth a punt. You'll not be disappointed. Good year, very good property, lovely wines across the board, and will reward a bit of patience. So there you go, Chateau Argenteyre 2015. Remember, kwmwine.com. Please reduce matters.